Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Brimwood Farm. It's our Saturday night live stream. So it's evening over here in the UK, but wherever in the world you are, whether that's afternoon over in the US, maybe even Sunday morning if you're over in Oz, thank you for stopping in on the live stream. And we're just going to do our normal thing. So I'm just going to take a quick look back at the week that was. We're going to do a quick few updates, and then we'll move on to our normal just Q&A, chat, having a cuppa. As always, I am very British in that I drink a lot of tea, and so although I'm normally talking so much, I never get a chance to finish it and it goes cold. So that is going to be kind of the run through of what we do today. If you're watching the live stream on replay and you're annoyed because you missed it, hit the bell notification, and then when I go live, it's normally on a Saturday 10 p.m. GMT, you will get notified, and then you can come across and join in all the fun and the chat and take part in the community. So this past week I've got a few updates. We had our farm video tour yesterday, so I did a February tour because we have had a few days of really mild weather, and it's been lovely because it's amazing what a little bit of mild weather can do in the garden, and suddenly from nothing, from barren soil, shoots start appearing. And now my ornamental patch is very herbaceous, and that means herbaceous plants are those that die back in the middle of the winter and they disappear under the soil. So it means I haven't got a lot of structure in the winter, so my beds look really, really barren. So it's nice to see some greenery coming through. Unfortunately, the weather report is dire. Now, obviously, if you're over in Scandinavia or Siberia or Toronto, Canada, you're not going to blink an eye at this. But over the next few weeks, over the next few days, we're going to have plummeting temperatures. Which is not fun, especially if you've got seedlings and you've got loads of stuff to do outside. So I think it's going to be getting down. We're due to have snow for almost a week here. And it's going to go down to sort of -6, -7, which for us in the UK is pretty darn cold. We do often get this thing at the beginning of March where we get this sort of week or cold spell. So hopefully after that will go up, because I really want the garden to come on. But as you saw from that quick tour around the garden, things are coming into life. The chickens think it's spring. The Danvers have started laying. The cockerels are constantly cadoodling because they just want to, get with their women. So that was the tour. As for an update on the budgies, it's a bit ropey on that little budgie that we have. I worked it out today that actually he's on day 24, so he should, or she should be well feathered up. It isn't. It also seems to have a slightly deformed leg. One leg is like this, it's normal, it can move. The other leg is kind of stuck out the side. Maybe that's why Sunny wasn't feeling it so much in the beginning. Maybe the other one also had maybe a deformity, and that's why she didn't feed it. The nature and the instinct is there, and they don't want to put their time and effort into babies that they know aren't going to make it. So that might be part of the reason why she has not been feeding this chick as well. I think the dad is Pluto from the feather colour coming through. Now, I've never had any babies from Pluto before, so it could be that Pluto is actually carrying a lethal gene or something like that. So we'll just see. The chick is growing, just not as fast as it normally would be. So we will just wait and see what happens in the future. At the moment, it is growing, it is feeding, so there's nothing to worry about. If it's deformed, obviously, I'm not going to sell it, I'm not going to breed it, and it can move into Luna's cage, because of course Luna has French molt, so we can't breed from Luna, and it'd be nice for Luna to have a little friend. So we'll see what happens with that. As for the new budgies, so last week I obviously went to the bird show, and it was great, and I really wanted to film some stuff for you, but it was crammed. The previous hall I went to was a lot bigger. The hall that it's now in is quite small. There were loads of people. It was just too difficult. So if you watched Smallholding Diaries last week, you'll know that I came home with a pair of diamond doves. I came home with 4 Bengalese finches. They're also known as society finches. They're lovely little birds. And I came home with 2 new budgies. The budgies we will need to start naming, thinking about names, going with the celestial theme. Obviously, I've got Pluto and Luna. I've got Sunny. I did have Io, which is a moon off Neptune. I have Venus. So we need to start up thinking some celestial names for those, and the idea will be that I bought one hen, and that hen is going to be paired up with Pluto, and then I will put the other boy into the main flight, and then next year he will hopefully breed with Sunny. So they're all doing really, really well as well. Let me have a quick look down here. On the work front, work is going really, really well. I have learned so much. My colleagues are so knowledgeable that I've learned so much stuff over the past week, mostly to do with sheep so far, because we've been lambing. So I've learned tons and tons and tons of stuff about lambing. But just going there and being around the animals is fantastic. So we're probably going to crack on with the chat anymore. Just one little announcement. Obviously, as the channel is growing and we're getting more chat, we had that issue with the troll last week. So we have the wonderful Liz Zorab in tonight. She is going to be the moderator. So if I miss stuff, Liz will hopefully catch it. If you don't know Liz, it's Liz Zorab. She has By the Farm. And you can pop across to her channel. She's probably got the only UK daily vlogging channel. So there are quite a few UK homesteading channels, sort of maybe 10 or so. But Liz actually does a daily vlog. So it's well worth a look out. And she is going to be helping me out tonight, just moderating comments. Most of it is totally fine. But obviously we did have that one person last week, and it throws me off when I'm trying to chat to you guys and I just can't. So I think, just looking at my notes, yeah, that's it. So let's just get on and have our normal catch up. So I'm going to have a look in the chat, see who is here. Alana is here, and Alana says, Liz, please don't kick me out. Well, we have to keep Liz on our good side now. And Ross is here, Sandra's here, Kat is here, one of my Patreons. Susie, hello Susie, thank you for stopping by. Susie's actually asking, didn't they have any chickens at the bird show? So no, so this was a cage and aviary bird show, not the poultry auction that I normally go to. I think I noticed a comment from you on a blog on my one of the videos today about getting a replacement for Eddie. I'm going to be looking at getting some more Ixworths, but I'm going to hatch them because I don't like bringing grown chickens into my flock in case they bring diseases with them. So I am sourcing, I've got one chick and I'm sourcing some hatching eggs at the moment. So the show that I went to last Sunday was just purely a cage and aviary bird show. They had some amazing birds, honestly. They've got everything from little zebra finches and strawberry finches and things like that, ranging all the way up to not big parrots but parakeets. So they had there were some lorries, there were some splendids, there were some borks, budgies, that kind of thing. So it's a really, really great show to go to. Trees is here. Let me scroll back down. Nola is here from not so sunny Sydney. Hello, welcome. Thank you for stopping in from Australia. That's rather nice. Robin is here. Hello, Robin. Ross says, I don't like trolls, but last week's I had to give the troll 10 for his name and getting you to say it without giggling. Ross, I didn't even realise. I was so focused on trying to say it right. It wasn't until afterwards when Liz pinged me a message on Facebook laughing, and then I suddenly realised what his name actually meant. But yes, so it completely bypassed me because I was too busy blithering on. Yvonne is here. Hello, Yvonne. Thank you for stopping by. She says, missed you guys last week as I was poorly in hospital. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. But you're feeling much better now, so that's really, really good. Susie asks, how is that Ixworth chick doing? So it's Ixworth chick. It's doing really, really well. Normally I would show it on the live stream, but last week they moved into the conservatory out here in their box just to start acclimatizing them. Now, had the weather been okay, and if it was going to get better next week, I would have actually been acclimatizing them even further to stay outside all the time. But he or she is in the box with the three other little silkies that I've hatched out. One of those silkies is showing some beautiful marshmallow colour already, not in the crest but on the streaking down the front, which is really exciting. Fingers crossed it turns out to be a hen because I would like to breed further from it. So I've got that one little Ixworth chick, and then obviously once I know the sex I'll be pairing it up with others. However, I might as well, I was going to buy in some birds, but if I buy in hatching eggs, I'll get cocks and hens. So regardless of what that one is, I'm going to keep that one because that's obviously the bloodline of Eddie and Ethel, and I'll get some new hatching eggs in and hatch them out. So that'll be exciting. So I can't wait to kind of get a new trio of those going. Kat says, Jeff, the no crow collars don't seem to be working very well. It's still very loud crying. Can you show us your cockerel boxes? Yeah, so literally, I did do a video on it, but my cockerel boxes are just cat boxes. It's just a cat carrier box. I lie a little bit actually. One is a cat carrier box, so Barry goes into a cat carrier box, and I have a poultry crate that I bought at an auction, which is just like a big plastic box with a lid in it. And so the Danvers and Barry, who is the Bruce, who is the Silky Danver cross, go in there. So they just go in there. There's a cupboard in my lean-to, which used to be an old toilet. So they go into the cupboard, they're in their boxes, and then they just get covered in a blanket. Now, it doesn't completely stop it, and of late, they have actually been crowing a little bit in the morning. But again, I think it's because the winters are so short that the nights are long. And so, so if you're put to bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, by 8 a.m, you're a bit bored and you're awake. So you're going to crow a little bit. So try that. Crow collars can be remarkably difficult to get right. They need to sit in exactly the right place, and they need to be exactly the right tautness, because obviously you don't want to suffocate your poor bird. And the other problem people have had is that it hasn't suffocated it, but if it's tried to eat something big, so say it's picked up a massive piece of bread or something that it's found, it can get lodged in its throat because the crow collar's on too tight. I would try moving the collar around a bit. Normally down towards the base is better, because that's normally where the sound is coming from. Maybe make sure you can only slip one finger underneath it, and then try these crow boxes and see if the cockerel night boxes, and see if they work any better for you. Ross says, where do we have to send you our chicken check-in? We'll be putting something together soon. So I use, the website is called WeTransfer, and they have a free version. You just go onto the website, www.wetransfer.com, and then you navigate to their free file sending page, and then literally just upload the file, pop in my email, so email it to... I think it's jeffwakeling@googlemail.com. Yeah, jeffwakeling@googlemail.com. Put that as the email, and then I'll get notified when you've sent it. You can always just send me a message or something on YouTube, and I'll let you know. But that would be exciting. I could do with another chicken check-in. And that goes for everybody. If any of you have got chickens and you want to get involved in chicken check-in, please do. There are slots open. I would like to post every single Wednesday to showcase all of your birds across the world, wherever you are in the world. So if you want to get involved in chicken check-in, please do. It's really easy. Even if you're a little bit camera shy, just get in front of the camera and just show us your chickens and just talk about them, because you'll find, I think, you won't be as nervous when you're talking about your chickens, because you've got something to focus on. So yeah, so if you want to get involved, let me know, please. Where do we get to? So Sandra said crow collars work on one of my boys, not the other one. He's also got beat stuck, so not using. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work for every bird. I don't like to use them as a permanent thing. What I tend to do is, if Barry is going crazy and driving me mad, I go and stick a crow collar on him for half an hour while I'm in the garden, and he kind of gets the sense that he needs to shut up, and that normally works. But I don't tend to like using them, because I'm just worried about the risks. I know some people use them constantly, and they have no problem at all, but I am a little bit concerned about using them constantly, so I don't tend to use them. Nola says, trimming the broken chicken beak went well. That's really good to hear. I'm glad. Quick clip with toenail clippers and tidy up with a nail file. Perfect. That's really good. I've actually got to do a similar thing at work with a couple of cockerels. I've got my nail file and my clippers ready, so we're going to do that sometime this coming week. I'm glad it was worked well for you. So Kat says, oh, I see, that's easy enough for me to replicate. This is with the cat boxes, of course, for the cockerel. My boys are breathing, eating, super easy. Good, that's good to know. I'm sure I fit them properly. We'll check again tomorrow. Yeah, and it's worthwhile just checking regularly as well, because obviously they can get, us as beings, we can swell, we can decrease because they've got the feathers, the tightness can change as well. So it's just worthwhile checking them every day or every other day, just to make sure they're sitting okay. Liz, hello Liz, my good old moderator. She says, "I love the chicken check-ins. It's really interesting to see the variety of birds that that folks keep." Yeah, I love them too, and I really, really love that we have a whole range of people from across the globe. So we've had Liz, who's obviously a smallholder. We've had another couple from over in America, which they are a homesteader, and then we've had people with pet chickens. So it's been really, really good to see all these different varieties. Charlie says, "I went to a bird sale today and made £141 on pecans. Wow, that's crazy. Plymouth Rock, Leghorn, Cream Bar, and one called up Drake. That's amazing. Really well done." And she says, "Also bought 2 khaki Campbell ducks and some copper Moran hatching eggs." Wow, that's really nice. I do. Oh, I need to stay away from the poultry places this year because I'm just going to end up buying too much. That's a really nice little sum to come away with, though, Charlie. Alana says, "I think I found a home for my Buff Orpington cockerel. Yay, he is so beautiful. Just need to rehome the cream leg bar cockerel. Tell the council where to shove it. Then I can do chicken check-in." Brilliant. So you're getting rid of the cockerels, but you're going to keep the hens, I'm assuming. That's really, really great. I may message you on Facebook because the cream leg bar cockerel I could be interested in for possibly work. I think you might be a long, long, long way away from me though. But I will we'll talk on Facebook about that because there's a possibility I could grab him. Ross says, "In regards to cockerels, years ago I got an old blackboard blind and lined my coop with it. Really did shut them up to at least 7 a.m. Yeah, it really does work well, the blackout thing. And all cockerels may just crow in the middle of the night simply because they wake up. And, you know, we might get up out of bed and go to the toilet. They wake up, have a crow, and go back to sleep. But yeah, blackout, anything that blacks out is really, really useful for chickens." Kat is asking how big cream leg bars are. They're not huge. They're not a massive fowl. They are kind of your... Actually, I was going to say they're your expat size, but they're actually a little bit smaller than that. I haven't kept them personally, but they're a fairly sort of nice standard size hen. Not bantams, but not Orpington Jersey Giant size. Susie says, "Stay away from poultry sales only after you get Eddie and Ethel's replacements." Yeah, exactly. With the poultry sales, I worry about buying poultry now because I've bought poultry in the past. 2 lots I bought, they were my lovely Morans, salt and pepper. And once I got them home, I discovered they had really bad lice. This is why you need to quarantine. Another one had a really bad respiratory illness. Now, she was actually quarantined for 2 weeks. So the stress of being bought and moved to my house didn't seem to stress her out that much. But as soon as she went into the main flock, she got stressed as hell, and she gave them all respiratory disease. That was my first massive outbreak that I had to deal with. It was horrible. I had to go to the vets. I had to get Tylenol. Lost quite a few of my grower pullets. So now I'm trying to kind of operate a closed flock. So it's not totally closed because obviously I do buy in hatching eggs, but I'm trying not to actually buy any adult birds in at all. So the same thing goes with, obviously, as you know, I've talked about the fact that I want to get some guineas and I want to get some golden pheasants. Again, I don't want to buy in birds because you don't know whether they're carrying stuff, so I'll be buying in eggs and hatching them. And there's kind of a 2 thing with that with the guinea fowl as well, because they say that if you hatch keats yourself and raise them yourself, they're more likely to stay around your locality. Whereas if you bring in older birds, they just fly away. So, but we'll see how that works. Alana says she's in Hertfordshire and we'd be willing to drive to get him a good home. So maybe we could do a motorway lay-by passing of the cockerel. I'll definitely get in contact with you, Alana, about that because it would be nice. We've got some cream leg bars at work, and I'm wanting to try and expand the different varieties of chicken if possible. Plus, I'm going to be doing a fertility hatch of some of their eggs just to check they're fertile before we start hatching stuff out. So I will be hatching out a few cream leg bars of my own here, and so I might need a cockerel to go with those as well. So yeah, we'll chat. Liz is in the know-how about cream leg bars. She says, cream leg bars are lightweight birds, a little flighty, and the boys are stunning. I agree. The boys really are beautiful, beautiful birds. Ross says, this is why I like my expats all vaccinated for free. I will convert you. I don't have anything. No, I was going to say I don't have anything against expats. I don't have anything against the actual individual hens. I just have. I worry that they're not very good looked after. But we've had this long conversation before. And then Susie St James says, so do you buy eggs from smallholders at poultry shows? I have bought eggs from poultry shows before. However, they were not what they were supposed to be. So I bought some silver-laced Poland hatching eggs, and 4 hatched, and 2 were sort of Brahma-ish kind of boys, and the other 2 were Cochins. So nothing like silver-laced. So now I tend, to be honest, I haven't actually bought anything in. I've only done, so last year I only did crosses of all my own birds. I didn't even buy any Icksworth eggs last year. I know a reputable source of eggs also in Essex, so I'm going to be getting my Icksworth hatching eggs from them. And then in the future, when I expand my flock, I'm just going to make sure I go to a reputable breeder. So I found somebody that I can get my golden pheasant eggs from, who is very reputable and has beautiful birds, and the same with the keeps, with the guineas. So we're going to do that there. Rachel says, love Liz and your YouTubes as much as I love watching the American ones. It's nice to see some English. Yeah, we are few and far between. We're now finally moving out of our first home with a tiny yard looking for a decent garden. We're in Norfolk. Do you know anywhere near here that's a reputable place to buy chicks and ducklings? Not decided which to go with yet. I don't as yet. If only it was a few years, I'd be right near you, because the farm, our farmland, is literally on the Suffolk-Norfolk border. So I could be like, yes, buy them from me. So I don't know anywhere up there of yet, but I'll have a little look for you and see what we can discover. And welcome to the chat. Robert's Farm is here. Hello, Robert's Farm. Nice to see you. And Brian has joined us as well. Good evening, Brian. I hope all is well with you. Ross says, does anyone know where I can get some Cochin buff bantams from? Does anybody? Please let him know. And Duck Ponds Farm is here. Hello, welcome. We've bought lots of hatching eggs from small sellers, mostly from Facebook groups, and had a real mixed bag of results. It's a real lotto until you get to know the sellers and their values. Exactly. It really is. Even the Facebook groups, you think, you know, somebody sends you eggs through the post, you think you've seen all their birds, you know what they're all like, and then the hatch comes out and it's not at all what you thought it was going to be. Hello to the new chat person that's just popped in. I can't read your name because I think it's in Arabic, but hello and welcome. Robert's Farm says we've had some very early lambs on the farm, only 4 so far. Yes, so at work we've been lambing, so we've had 42 ewes, and so we've had some early lambs as well, which has been lovely to see. They have, unfortunately, all lambed overnight. So although I'm being trained up in lambing, I haven't actually seen any lambs come out as yet, because everybody's decided to do it overnight with our night shepherd. So I'm waiting to see what happens there. Hello, Sarmed. It's good to see a name. Thank you. And then Susie says, when will the guinea eggs become available? So the guineas tend to start laying in March, April. The same with the golden pheasants. So that's when I'll be getting those eggs in. So I'm going to start doing chicken eggs in a couple of weeks. So they'll be hatched by the time I need the incubators for the guinea and the pheasant eggs. Kat says, oh, Fringe Dweller is here as well. Hello, Fringe Dweller. Welcome to the chat again. Kat says, I really like my chicken guy. I did a video at his place when I got my chicks last year. I'll only buy them from him. So that's a really nice thing. If you can find a hatchery you really, really like and trust, it's really, really good. Now, I'm just going to pause for a quick sip. You may notice I have a tea bag. I'm one of those dirty people that leaves their tea bags in the tea because just get stronger and better. Alana says, I miss seeing the lambing on my grandparents' farm. Me too. I mean, my grandparents, so my granddad, we lambed all the time, and it was really, really nice. And then we did generally see the lambs being born, but we were obviously, I was probably only 10, 9 or 10 when he still had his flock of sheep, so I never actually got to get in there and help properly. I think I did. I have vague memories of, clearing the mucus off the mouth and helping them breathe and pushing straw up their nose and stuff. I never got hands on though to actually go inside if I needed to, and that's kind of what I wanted to get out of the lambing here. But obviously they've lambed at night, but we'll see how it goes. Robert's Farm leaves his tea bag in too. Yes, good. Glad to hear that. The person I work with is trying to teach me to drive a tractor as well. I'm not very good. I've only driven a tractor with my granddad sat on his lap. This week I've been driving a golf buggy with a trailer attached, which is great when you're going forwards, not so easy when you're trying to reverse around a tight corner. So that was rather interesting. It may take me a few more tries to get that right. Alana says, I like tea bags in the tea, no milk though. Oh, black tea? That's weird. I think unless, of course, it's like a herby tea, but no, I like a splash of milk. Splash of milk, no sugar. I don't like gnat's piss, which is, that's really, really weak tea. I don't like that. But I do like a good, strong cup of tea. As does Ross there, saying, nothing wrong with strong tea. I totally agree. Brian is saying tractors are easy, Jeff. I'm sure they are. I just need to get on one. They are going to train me up on the tractors because we do tractor rides there as well. So I'm going to need to know how to do all of that. And I'm loving how many people here have been on tractors. So Alana says, my grandpa used to take me out in the pony and trap. But never a tractor though. But I'd love to go on a pony and trap. That would be really, really cool. Sandra, no black tea for you too. Interesting. I never really even thought of Brits drinking black tea. Fringe Dweller says, I visited my brother in Suffolk this week. Oh, lovely. Whereabouts in Suffolk is he? The countryside is so beautiful there. I thought about your farm while I was driving about. Oh, that's really, really nice. And it's going to be beautiful up there this coming week if they get sort of snow on the fields and it's really, really frosty. I do like snow when it's when it's undisturbed and it's lying across the fields. It's really, really pretty. Kat says, Mr. G was a farrower for 10 years. Oh, wow. So used a tractor most days. Where are we going here? Susie is saying, do you know anyone who uses loose tea or do most use tea bags? So I am going to switch actually to loose tea because tea bags have plastic in them. I didn't know that, and I've only just found that out recently. And one thing I am trying to do this year is reduce my reliance on tea bags and plastic, sorry. And so not only do tea bags actually have plastic in them, they also, obviously the box normally comes with a cellophane wrapper. So I'm thinking of switching it to loose leaf. And you can often buy loose leaf just in tins that just come in a cardboard box, or just a tin without any plastic. Yeah, I know, it's gross, isn't it? It's really disgusting, which have this plastic in these tea bags. So I'm going to try and switch across to loose leaf. I'm trying to do the same thing with toothpaste. I found a nice charcoal-based toothpaste online, which comes in a tin, just a metal tin, and it's specifically for people that want to avoid plastic, so I'm going to start using that. And I've just ordered some bamboo toothbrushes as well, so I can switch across to those because I'm really trying to reduce the plastic, the everyday plastic that we're using, because yeah, it's only a little amount that I'm putting out there, but if everybody does that, it hopefully will reduce the amount of plastic considerably. So that's a definite thing I'm doing at the moment. I'm just scrolling up because Liz says she's got tractor envy because she's never been on one. Okay, we need to change that pronto. Jeff is here. Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the chat. He said, where did you put your new birds? In the aviary. So I haven't put them in the aviary yet because when I chatted to the two different sellers I bought the diamond doves and the Bengalese from, they weren't actually being kept in an outdoor aviary. So obviously if I shoved them outside now, we'd have dead birds. So they're currently in the spare room, which is the bird room. So they are in a big cage. I've got a couple of zebra finches left from last year. So the zebs, the Benjis, and the diamond doves are all in a big cage. And then this year, when it gets a bit warmer and we actually get some days where it's not going down too cold, then they'll go outside. I am thinking of keeping the Benjis separate though, and just putting a nest box in with them, and seeing how they do. But the diamond doves especially, they do need to go outside so they can fly around properly. And Fringe Rider says he lives in Beckrow near Mildenhall. I know Mildenhall, yes. Lovely little part of the world. Doc Pond's Farm says we had a terrible experience with lambing last year, our first year, so hoping for better luck this time around. We only have one ewe this year, so how hard can it be? Well, fingers crossed for you. I really, really hope that works out, yeah, because you don't want a bad lambing experience at all. You just want them to be able to drop the lambs without any intervention, you know, the babes to get up to start suckling again without any intervention. So I really wish you good luck with that. If you've only got one ewe, let's fingers crossed that it all works to plan. Lots of people seem to be disgusted by the plastic. I know it's horrible. Robert's Farm says, I loved your video yesterday. It was like a great May. Oh, it was great. May I ask why you don't like yellow daffs? I just think yellow daffs are a bit garish. I just don't like them. I don't know why. I don't mind a nice clump of yellow daffs at Easter, for example, you know, to give to somebody. I don't mind yellow daffs in, you know, maybe the verges of a roadside where they look quite pretty. I just don't like people's ornamental flower beds smothered in bright yellow daffodils. Don't know what it is, just my personal choice, which is why I always stick with the white ones. But I'm really excited because I've got a few different white colours this year, so I can't wait to see them all come up. I probably will put some yellow ones in at the farm, in the verges driving up the lane to the actual farm. I'll probably put some in there because then it's more naturalistic. But yeah, that's why. Trees is saying the first job was as a tractor driver. Cool. An old Massey Ferguson from the 1950s. Oh, very nice. Oh, I'd like to get on one of those. Calendula Fields Nursery is here. Hello. They said good morning or evening. I'm sorry I'm late. No problem at all. Love tea. Good. There's lots of tea drinkers here. And Alana is saying I'm tempted to switch to loose leaf, trying to reduce my plastic usage. Yeah, I think if we could all reduce our plastic usage a bit. I mean, it naturally comes from growing vegetables. If you're growing your vegetables, you're naturally avoiding all that plastic packaging. That, you know, you buy a packet of spuds and they come in plastic. You know, even if you go to the supermarket, if you can buy loose instead of packeted, you don't have to pick up the plastic bags provided. You can take stuff to put them in yourself. It can be difficult, and when you're you know, you're running around 24/7, you've got family, you're trying to make quick meals all the time. It's difficult. It's hard to cut out plastic, and of course we can't cut out plastic altogether. This phone that I'm recording this on has plastic in it. My laptop next to me has plastic in it, so we can't get rid of plastic completely. But I just think if we can reduce the amount of everyday disposable plastic, we can all do it a little bit. So I've also found an alternative for the shower gel, so I don't have to buy loads of bottles of shower gel constantly. I found like an organic thing that you can buy in a massive, massive bottle, and you can just filter it out. I've also switched to. I was going through a lot of laundry detergent, and as a Christmas present, I bought this thing called an eco egg, and supposedly it will last for 720 washes. And yes, okay, the egg itself is plastic, and you leave it in with every wash, and the detergent comes in the forms of these little round balls that sit in there. You never have to refresh it. All those balls will last 720 washes. So even though it is made of plastic and it has plastic packaging that the little balls come in, now not only has it saved me money, but I now no longer have to buy fabric conditioner in a plastic bottle, or bio cubes or detergent or whatever in obviously a plastic box. So again, there's lots of little ways we can do things. I'm kind of trying to find somewhere that I can buy toilet roll from. I found a place online I can buy toilet roll from that comes in a biodegradable packet, but it comes from New Zealand, which seems a bit absurd when you weigh up that small piece of cellophane packaging compared with the number of travel miles it's got to do. So I'm trying to find something in the UK that I can use for that. Mysterio, the Golden Mind, is here. Hello, welcome to the chat. What is the best tea to drink? Well, I like my Earl Grey, although this is a bit of a bog standard builder's tea. I think it's Yorkshire. But yeah, Earl Grey in the day I tend to have, and then Yorkshire in the evening. Nice and strong to keep me awake. Sandra says, been using coconut oil on my teeth, have done for years. Never had a dental treatment since. Wasn't fond of the taste initially, but got used to it. Yeah, I think that's the kind of thing. It's this charcoal. The thing that I found comes in a tin, and it's like a coconut charcoal mix. It's supposed to be really good for whitening, really good for keeping your teeth in shape. So I'm definitely going to be using that. Mysterio says, just got 3 quails and they already have 20 eggs so fast. Wow. Yeah, they are. They're great. When they're in season, quail just really lay really well. Yvonne says, I don't like any daffs. Yeah, I'm not particularly keen. I mean, if I could not have any daffs at all, I probably wouldn't. But I just like it for a bit of colour at this time of year. Even though when I say colour, I mean just bland white. But Allotment Life. So Brian says, have you ever noticed we haven't had lambing storms in February for quite a few years now? Yeah, that's true actually. We haven't. I hadn't noticed that, but now you bring it to my attention, I do realise. Kat says, yellow daffs are lush. It reminds me of the sunshine. And Alana says, I hate the yellow daffs in front of my garden. They're everywhere. There's a nice difference of opinion here. I like that. Good debate. Liz is saying the chickens are eating the daff flowers as they are in bud. So not many daffs here this year. Oh dear. Now, daffs are slightly poisonous as well, so don't let your chickens eat too many. Although they probably know what they're doing. Fringe says, whereabouts is your land farm? So it's right on the border of Norfolk and Suffolk. It's about a 5-minute drive from the coast as well, so it's really nice. It's quite near Minsmere Nature Bird Reserve. So it's a very nice part of the country, and I'm hoping, because I haven't been up since November because it's been so blimming cold. I have scheduled a weekend next month, so in March, to get up there and get on with some stuff, because obviously we're getting into early spring season, especially for ponds. We're getting in for froggy spawn and toad spawn season, so I need to get up there and do a little bit more of that pond clearance and really get that pond invigorated. And I want to go around and check all the owl boxes, see if we can get some fleeting glances and glimpses of the barn owls and the tawny owls that are up there. So I'm really looking forward to getting up there again, seeing what's what. And also, obviously, my tenant farmer has had his shorthorn cattle in there all winter, and there's probably some calves to see now, so I'd like to get up and see those too. Robert's Farm says, I'm thinking about getting some zebra finches. Zebra finches are really great starter birds. So if you are thinking about going into caging over birds a little pair of zebra finches are perfect. Ross is saying, you're spot on with the plastic. I fish, and the thing we do to the rivers and oceans with plastic is shocking. Honestly, sometimes I could cry when I see the damage we do to the local rivers. I know, it's awful. It's really awful. And then people say, the plastic isn't getting anywhere and it's not in our food chain. Well, it probably already is, because all those microplastics, even the bigger plastics that go into the ocean, they get broken down. So plastic doesn't actually biodegrade, but it does get broken down into tiny pieces. But those tiny pieces are eaten by zooplankton, and then they just shoot straight up the food chain because zooplankton at the bottom, and they get eaten. So eventually a tuna is going to eat one of those fish that's eaten that zooplankton, and then suddenly we're eating that tuna. So we've probably got plastic in our bodies already at a microscopic level just from our food chain. Silver7 is here. Hello, welcome to our live chat this evening. It says, hi, love watching your videos. I don't have a lot of space, unfortunately, but would love silky chickens. Not sure how much space they need. Wondered if you could advise. Love tea too. I'm loving all these tea drinkers. Well, I don't know what you mean by you haven't got a lot of space. Silkies don't need a vast amount of space. And the thing with silkies do come in 2 main sizes. So you can buy silky large fowl, and they are big, so obviously they need a larger amount of space. But you can buy the silky bantam as well. So I have the silky bantam. They are quite small, as you've seen. And a coop my size, I've got 4 in that little coop down the garden, and then I do let them out as well. So it would be wise if you need at least that kind of coop size to keep them in, and a little extra space to let them wander around. when you're around. Obviously, don't just let them out into the garden whenever, because you might have a fox attack or something. But you don't need a vast amount of space just to keep a trio of chickens, or even just 2 hens. So definitely look into it, because I highly recommend keeping chickens if you can. AJ is here. Hello AJ, welcome to our chat this evening. I'm glad you stopped in. Liz says, I've seen a paper wrap loo roll recently online. I'll find the link and send it to you. Oh, thank you. That'd be really, really good, because I would really like... It annoys me when stuff like that comes in plastic packaging. When it's so... I mean, I get it's loo paper. You don't want to get it wet. And if you get it wet, it's just going to disintegrate. So I get why it has to have packaging. But it's all that little bit of... all those little disposable packaging that builds up in your bin. And then before you know it, you're throwing out huge sacks of plastic that isn't really needed. Sandra says, doesn't Andrex 2-pack still come wrapped in paper? It does come wrapped in paper, but it now has a plastic sheen around the inside. So it's not entirely plastic free. The other thing, which is really annoying, is tin cans used to just be tin cans, but now a lot of tin cans have a plastic lining. So plastic is everywhere. It's so annoying. Lana says, have you looked at who gives a crap toilet paper? I haven't. Is that a possibility? I'm going to look into that. And then Alana also says, I want to get an underwater camera for toad and frog breeding shots this year. That would be so cool. I have my phone. So my phone that I shoot all my videos on is a Samsung S7 Edge. Now, apparently it is waterproof. And one reason I got it is because I'm out and about all the time. And I was constantly fearful with my iPhone 7 that I was going to drop it into the toilet, into a pond, into anywhere. So I got my Samsung 7. But I know it's supposed to be waterproof, but I'm so... You know, just putting an electrical gadget into water just seems wrong. So I actually haven't tested it out, really, because I'm worried that maybe it's not going to be like it says on the packet. So I should give it a go, because it's supposed to be waterproof. But it would be just my luck that I'd have the faulty one that isn't. Fringe Daughter says, I'm terrified of frogs and toads. Why? Although I say that, one of my gardening clients is also terrified of frogs and toads. And unfortunately, they like her garden quite a lot. And they come right down to her patio, and they go underneath her vinca that she's got sprawling everywhere, and jump out at her, and she's absolutely terrified. She can't even go in she can't go in her shed because she's scared of the mice, and then she can't go anywhere near these vinca which are on her patio because she's scared of the frogs jumping out. Kat says, I love frogs and toads, and Mr. G is terrified. Liz is saying, Jeff, who is that singing in the background? That is probably Hansel, my male cockatiel, who, what's the time? Yep, so it's about 10:30, so that is his time for a wake-up now. So he will now sing or screech for a good hour. I do have to bear in mind that now he's no longer in the living room and he's upstairs. Where the spare bedroom backs onto my neighbour's main bedroom, so I have to be aware to shut him down and shut the lights off, because he does screech blimmin' murder. He just sings and sings and sings, and also I think because we're getting longer daylight hours now, he's also getting into the happy mind. So we may have baby cockatiels at some point. Yeah, so that's who's singing in the background. Ross says, so what's your favourite chicken breed and why? I cannot answer that because there are too many amazing chicken breeds. I love them. I really love them all. I really love them all. I was going to say I like the dual purpose because they're really good for a smallholder. Because obviously they produce an egg and they produce meat. So something like an Ixworth for a homesteader or a smallholder is really, really amazing. But then you've got huge meat birds, Buff Orpingtons, gorgeous birds, Jersey Giants, gorgeous birds. And then you have the tiny little Seabrights, which again, I've never personally kept, but they are so stunning. And the little Sable Poots and Belgian Bantams. So I honestly, Ross, I can't answer that because there's too many amazing chickens. You know, if I had it my way, I'd have way more chickens. I haven't got the room yet, so I'm just going to have to live vicariously through other people. Susie is saying, have you seen any new foxy prints in the garden? I haven't as yet, but I'm sure he is here every night. Over the past few weeks, they have been quieter, I think because it's mating season, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and they kind of paired off. However, it has still been very, very cold over here. So I'm kind of not taking any risks at the moment because, well, obviously when it warms up, their natural prey, so mice, rats, other things that live in the field will start to breed and they'll have more things to eat, even rabbits, baby rabbits. But because it's so cold at the moment, I'm very aware that they're going to be hungry. There's not going to be so much natural prey. So I'm keeping everything on lockdown at the moment and being very careful. The chickens did come out today for a good 6-7 hours and I had them out. But I find I can't settle very easily. I'm always up and down and looking out the back just to make sure everybody's all right. So I can't wait till it's a bit warmer, the prey has increased, so the foxes are less likely to come. And also I have those guineas and so an alarm system. Fringe Rider says, Jeff, what do you keep in that tank? I've seen the background in some of your vids. So we've got poison dart frogs in there. So the first one has got a Mysteriosis dart frog, and the second one, the slightly smaller one, has got a tricolour dart frog and phantasmal dart frogs. We're trying to breed them at the moment, but we think we did have a female frog with the phantasmals, but I think she may have died, and we've just now got the 3 boys. The problem we're having with the dart frogs is keeping the humidity high. It's really, really hard to keep the humidity up in those, even though they're the proper vivarium exoterra tanks. It's really hard to keep the humidity up. We've got a fogger, we've got a rain system, but it's just not keeping the humidity. But if we get tadpoles and things in the future, I will definitely show you. I think we're going to try and get some more frogs over the coming weeks. And pop them in there and see how we go. Again, also, they need the temperature. They come from South America, where it's hot and humid. And now my house is not hot. My house is more like an icebox. So it might be humid in there, but it's also fairly cold at the moment. So I think also the spring and the summer temperatures will increase their cooling, and hopefully we'll get babies. Susie St. James says, why don't you use cloth squares for loo paper? Just because I don't fancy wiping my bum with a cloth square and then having to wash it. I mean, obviously people back in the day used reusable diapers, so it is a done thing. I haven't quite reached that I haven't quite reached that stage of recycling yet, I don't think. Brian says, if you can't find tin sheeting for your hen's nest box, angle iron around the edges of the lid will work. Yeah, that's a good idea as well. So I think, Brian, I think you commented today, didn't you, about putting some tin sheeting on? I think it popped up. I haven't had a chance to reply, but I definitely think I'm going to do that because that fox is... as nothing else has happened, so since the fox got back onto their nest box and ripped off some of that waterproofing, it's not come back, it's not trying anymore, but then I haven't left the pullets in that box again overnight. So I haven't had to worry that it's trying to gnaw its way in. So definitely a tin roof. At work they have tin roofs and they haven't had an issue. So I definitely am thinking that might be the way to go because I just need to fox-proof it for my own personal peace of mind as well. Alana says, I have a Samsung S8 and there's no way I'm testing it out. Right? You know, they're nice little gadgets. When we were in Scotland, I did drop it into a puddle by about this much, or purposely, to try and film. I was trying to film above and below the water level at the same time. It was very blurred, and then I got scared that I was going to muck my phone up, so I pulled it back out immediately. So yeah, I'm not entirely used to it yet. Vicky is here. Hi Vicky, thanks for stopping in. She says, thanks for your quail videos. My 7-year-old son has just been given some and you've helped him out loads on what to do. I'm very, very happy and I'm glad that I've managed to help him out a little bit. If there are any questions, please just ask. The quails that I hatched out last week are already massive. Their feathers are really coming through really, really quickly and they're soon, and in fact tomorrow I think I'm going to upgrade them from that smaller brooder box to the larger brooder box. They're currently on a heat lamp system as well, but I want to turn that heat lamp off and put them onto the brooder plate because I think that would be better for them. I don't like to do it with tiny quail chicks because tiny quail chicks are very fragile. Plus that brooder plate doesn't actually fit inside that smaller brooder. But when I put them in the larger one, it will fit in there nicely. So I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. Quail chicks are stinky though. I warn you. When quails grow up, I find they're not so stinky, and you can keep them inside with shavings, and it's not a problem. But quail chicks, possibly because they just grow so fast, but they are stinky, stinky little things. Little Bean's Garden is here. Zule is here from Pomona, California. Welcome. Thank you for stopping in. It's not your problem that you're late to the party. I'm just glad you're here. So hello. And what is... So Alana is saying, we use cloth nappies and wipes for the boys. I still couldn't bring myself to using cloth wipes for the toilet. I know, it's that weird disconnect, isn't it? We happily use cloth nappies and things that will recycle and wash for kids, but moving on to the cloth sheets for us to use is a sort of a whole another ball game. Brian is saying, when I was a boy, we had an outside toilet. Can't beat square paper from News of the World hanging on the wall. Oh, and Liz is just saying, lol, I'd forgotten about News of the World loo paper. I don't think I even know what that is. Stevie is here. Hello, Stevie. Thank you for checking in with us tonight. Susie St. James says, if you put your phone in a plastic bag to waterproof it, test the bag first, as many are not watertight. Yes, they're not. When I lived in the rainforest, so for a little bit, for about 6 weeks, just over 6 weeks, I lived in the Amazon rainforest, and we were doing biodiversity studies and stuff. We always, when we had to cross rivers and we had to swim, we all had these sort of bags that we put all our gadgets into, and then they'd fold over and kind of magnetically seal. But even those weren't 100% waterproof, so sometimes a little bit of water would trickle through. So it's worthwhile just double checking before you put all your lovely expensive gadgets in, and then accidentally ruining it. There seems to be a fly. Oh, did I catch it? Oh, I caught it. Skills. The skills. Newsprint on your bum, Sandra is saying. Too right. It's quite cold already, guys. I never managed to drink this cup of tea while it's warm. Ross is saying, I can honestly say, as a child of a single parent under a Thatcher government, I know what News of the World loo paper is. How do I not know? Maybe my parents didn't allow it in the house. I don't know. So Alana says, we had a meeting about our Uganda trip. I didn't realise you were going to Uganda. I'm staying well away from the water there. Definitely won't be wading through the rivers. No, I reckon there's some dangerous things out there. One thing we were warned about in the Amazon was do not pee in the water, especially in boys, because there's a parasite that would live in the water and it swims. Okay, boys, prepare yourselves. It finds the urine stream, and it swims up that warm urine stream into your urethra, where it then puts its barbs out and basically makes a little home. So you can't pee it back out because it's got its little barbs stuck to your insides. So yes, there was no peeing in water allowed. And you know, that's quite difficult because sometimes when you need to pee and you're in water, you desperately need to pee. So there were a few instances where some of us went rushing out of the river to get to the bank so we could actually pee and not have this parasite crawl up inside us. But yes, we managed to get away with it. But I think in Uganda you've probably got bigger things to worry about than parasites, more like crocodiles. Yes, so that's exactly what Alana's saying. Bilharzia, Giardia, crocodiles, hippos. Yeah, I wouldn't want to come face to face with a hippo either, actually. And Zula, yeah, saying, oh my god, I've heard of that worm. Yeah, they're nasty little things. Nasty, nasty, nasty. I wouldn't want to go near them. Horrible little things. So we were warned at least. And then Susie is saying, so would you rather have newsprint on your bum or use a cloth square? I think I'd rather use a cloth square. It may come to it. It may take a while to convince Saad to do that. Although Saad, being brought up Muslim, they don't even use newspaper, because, you know, that's not what's done. So Saad's just used to using water, and has a little, well, it's like a little watering can with an open spout that they use, and they have it beside the toilet, and that's filled with fresh water, and then they use that to go onto their hands to then clean themselves. Maybe I need to learn that. That would save on newspaper, on toilet paper, wouldn't it? So has anybody got any questions about what's going on here? I've been doing a little bit of planting today. As you saw, in probably small holding diaries again, Barry obviously got out that day and decimated my dill and my parsley. So I have sown some more dill and some more parsley. And a few more corianders as well. And I've actually put them under my grow light system because the coming week, normally the first week of March, it would be warming up. I'd be acclimatizing stuff, possibly even moving stuff from the lean-to, which gets a bit of house heat, possibly moving from there all the way down to the bottom greenhouse, which gets no heat at all, and hardening things off. But because of next week's terrible temperatures, they are now under the grow lights. I'm going to try and get them nice and bulky and bushy and ready to go inside instead. Susie St James says, how did we get onto this loo topic? Yeah, it was plastic. It was all about the plastic wrapping. That's how we got there. And Zule is saying, oh, what are you growing as of now? So at the moment I've got the herbs going. So I've got dill, coriander and parsley. So they're all seedlings. I've got a little tray of aubergines and peppers. They're still in my heated propagator, and at this time of year over in the UK they don't tend to do anything. They literally pop up their first leaves and they just sit around not doing anything at all until the weather gets warmer. So I've got those going. I have a few sweet peas going. I've got some spring onions that I desperately need to split and would like to plant out, but again it's too cold. And I think that is all. I've kind of held back because I know about the horrible cold that's coming next week. So whereas I've had a couple of days off this weekend and I might have ordinarily just been sowing and getting things going, I haven't wanted to because I know I haven't got room in the house and I can't get stuff outside, which is very, very frustrating because I would like to start getting some cutting flowers on as well, you know, some marigolds, some cornflowers and stuff like that, but I need to wait, unfortunately. Alana's saying I really need to repot my big chilli plants, but I have no space and it's too cold. It is. So Alana started her chilli plants before Christmas. So they're probably getting quite big by now, I would think, Alana. But yeah, we're running out of space and it being too cold outside is an issue we have. Are you alright, doggies? The dog is under the blanket over there and she's just had a big old sneeze. So that's, yeah, one of the issues we run into here in the UK. And because we, you know, this winter seems to be particularly long. It got really, really cold before Christmas and it's lasted. So we've had a proper winter. It's, you know, it's lasted three months, maybe a bit more. But often it's quite warm by this time. Last year, 2017, it was really warm by this time last year. So it's a bit of a strange one for us here in the UK. We can never tell quite what's coming. Alana says, I'll be buying a mini polytunnel when I have some spare cash. Yes, I would love a polytunnel. I really would. Where I'd put it, I don't know, but I would love one. And Susie says, how are the seeds you planted to replace what Barry ate? They're just coming up, actually. So I've got them under, as I was saying, I've got them under the grow lights. The dill, I noticed today, are pinging up. The coriander hasn't come up yet, but the parsley, so the parsley and dill are coming up. And I'm going to start probably give them a few days more, and then I'll start pricking them out and popping them into the separate little pots. Alana says, I have some self-seeded pea plants outside. They're doing really well despite the frozen weather. That's really, really good. I mean, that's the other thing as well. If you put stuff outside and it's frost tolerant, it can stay outside. It's just when you start stuff off inside in a protected environment, moving it outside, that's what kills it. So this year, for example, I've direct sown on my broad beans. I haven't sown my broad beans in modules or kept them in the house. I've direct sown them. There's no sign of them yet, but they'll be sitting under the soil. They may have even put out their little tap roots already, and they'll be waiting for those warm days to pop up. So I'm looking forward to every day at the moment. I'm going down and I'm peering, looking for them, hoping I'm going to discover them, because I do love a nice little broad bean. Stevie says, trying to finish off building a shed from scratch before it gets even colder. Well, you're going to be busy tomorrow then, Steve, aren't you? Seeing as next week is going to be freezing. I think I looked at the temperatures earlier and it's starting to, well, it said snow flurries from Monday. And then for here in Essex, it said snow every day from Monday through till the following Tuesday. Whether that will happen or not is to be questioned, but I'm expecting some snow at least, or even worse than some snow would be just sleet for 8 days, which would be absolutely horrendous. So you might need to build that shed quite quickly. Zule says, here where I live it has been extremely cold, like in the 30s at night. I can never remember Fahrenheit conversion. I'm going to do it on my computer right now as we look. Temperature conversion, because I never know. 30s, let me put 30. Oh, okay, so that's cold. So 30 Fahrenheit is -1 degrees centigrade. So I didn't realise it got that cold in California. Here's me thinking you're sitting there outside on your patio, Zule, with your fur babies and all warm, nice, cushy, lovely, balmy evenings. And it's -1. That's cold. So you know how it is over here then. It's pretty miserable actually. Ross says it's going to be a long winter this year. It's reminding me of the year my son was born. We had snow in May here in Shropshire that year. Oh, crikey. I know, and we have been, yeah. So he says we've been spoilt as the last few years we didn't really have a winter, just a long autumn. Totally right. We didn't really have a long winter at all. I was talking to this with Allotment Life, Brian. We were talking about this last year, the fact that we didn't get a winter. And so a lot of creepy crawlies and nasties in the garden weren't killed off. So the pros for the winter is it makes plants go dormant, properly dormant. So we will probably see this year there is some magnificent flowering on wisterias and roses and things like that because they've been properly put into a dormant state. And so because if it's mild, they continue growing a little bit throughout the winter. And I find they're always a little bit lackluster that year. When, however, you get really, really, really dormant weather, really cold weather that sends them into dormancy, they tend to flower better. So I'm expecting, now my dog's having a drink, I'm expecting it to be really, really good. So that's the first thing it's really, really good for. The second is obviously the frosts and the snow break up the soil really well. So the surface layer of your soil gets really, really broken down, which is really, really nice. And also it helps kill the bugs. So if you get a mild winter, your aphids can survive. Your earwigs can survive, your slugs and your snails and the eggs they've laid in the top surface of the soil or the crevices of raised beds and things can also all survive. Whereas if you get this cold, it will kill them off. So that's the positive. But it's going on for too long and I want to get growing. So that is the negative. So Brian is saying, even in a cold winter, I still sow seed in an unheated greenhouse. It's the watering that's important. Yes, I agree. It is the watering that's important. Not over-watering as well. Remembering that in the cold weather, things stay stagnant for longer. So you mustn't over-water and just leave them sat there because the seeds will then rot. So that's very important. Liz says, do you think this cold snap will be enough to kill off some of the garden pests? Yes, I really do think, or I really hope it will. I know on a Smallholding Diaries a few weeks ago, I discovered all those aphids on my Brunnera and I was kind of dismayed. So I cleaned out that bed and I was looking at it today actually and there's no aphids. So either because I cleaned it out, they went, ah, and they flew off to find somewhere warmer, or the frost did kill them. Fingers crossed the frost killed them. Susie St James says, could you put a polytunnel over your veggie beds? I don't think I could because the shape of them, the size and the shape of the polytunnels, it would have to go sideways on, but then it would probably take the entire width of my garden. So I think I will just save up for a big one, a huge polytunnel for the farm when I'm there, and get one up there. So that's probably what I will do. Because the garden, had I been doing this garden again from scratch, I could have easily fitted one in. But it's so long and thin, and now the sort of the direction of all the veg beds and where the sheds are and the greenhouse, I don't think it would fit in, unfortunately. And Stevie says cold weather should give us a clean start with the bugs. I agree. And Brian says this winter hasn't been cold enough to cull aphids. It's cold a few down here. But yes, I agree. I mean, we haven't had the cold, intense cold, for kind of long enough to kill loads of stuff off, because they can get through a few nights. But I think we need it colder for longer, which I think, Brian, we're about to get, because it's going to, you know, my weather chart seems to be really, really cold for the coming few weeks. London Worms and Garden is here. Hello, welcome for popping. Can't even speak. Welcome to the chat, and thank you for popping in this evening. We're just talking bugs and cold weather, and hoping that some cold days will kill things off. Ross is saying we need a good 3 to 7 days of -2 or above to help kill the bugs. Anything less, and they can just about survive. Yeah, exactly. So it will kill off some of them for sure. You know, if a slug egg gets frozen, then it will die. But yeah, the cold needs to penetrate into the soil and penetrate into the depths of the plants to really kill things. Silver7 says, I'm in Wales, not seen snow here in 5 years. If it snows here, I'll be amazed. I thought Essex didn't get that much snow because we're quite near the coast and we're quite near the Thames. I mean, the Thames River is less than a mile away from me here. And because of that, we get a lot of wind and we don't really get a lot of snow. Well, I thought we wouldn't get a lot of snow, but we've had quite a bit this year, which has surprised me. More so, I've been surprised by the amount of wind we get. Just the wind that comes up that Thames estuary and hits us here is just incredible. Stevie says he spent today and yesterday building it, and hopefully tomorrow. So hopefully your shed will be done. So let's keep our fingers crossed for Stevie to get his shed finished before this cold snap comes. Sandra is saying, I lived in Carmarthen, Silver7, we got snow. Wow. Well, Sandra's been getting a lot of snow. I see that Liz is doing her job there. I did see that Hans says he likes my cute beard, so thank you very much for that, Hans. But please don't be too trolley on this. We are trying to stay on the homestead and the veggie growing kind of side of things. Silver7 says again, I think it's because I'm near the coast. I went to Scotland to get snow and it snowed here as we left to catch our train. Oh no, typical. That always happens, doesn't it? I think if you are near the coast, you tend to get less snow. Little Beans Garden, so Zule is saying, question, how soon do you think the chicken poopy can be used in the garden? So chicken poo does take quite a long time to break down because it is really, really high in ammonia. And it can burn plants, so I leave mine for a good 6 months, and it needs to be mixed if you can with other things. So compost it down. You can compost it down just in a manure pile, but I find it takes a long time to actually break down properly that way. So I try and mix it in with my other compost, and that way if I mix it in layers, it tends to break down a lot faster. One thing I've had an issue with, as you might have seen, is the over fertilization of beds, because it is so fertile. It's such fertile stuff. It can just over fertilize. So when I tried to grow those radishes, for example, I just got tons and tons of luscious leaf and hardly any root, and that was obviously, we worked out, because it was too fertile. So you need to give it quite a long time. So whereas normal compost, if you get the heat right, you can get the compost turning over, and you can, 4, 5, 6 months, you can have really nice compost. And chicken manure, sadly, does need quite a bit longer. Although it's good if it's cold, you could put a thin, because I know you don't have too many chickens, you could put thin layers across the top of your beds, and then the cold can get in and break it down, and then some of those nutrients will leach down from that top layer into the soil. And then if you're worried about the soil being too burnt if you're putting new seedlings in, then you could just take the top layer back off when the warmer weather warms up. Some of that nutrient from that soil, from that poop, will have soaked in, and then you can put the rest of the poop back onto the compost heap to do its job. Escaping the Matrix is here. Peekaboo. Hello all. Welcome. Thank you for coming in. Escaping the Matrix is up near Woodbridge in Suffolk, where our farm is going to be. So it's nice to see you here. Kat says, my spinach isn't doing anything yet. Sown in my polytunnel weeks ago. Yeah, I have to apologise. I haven't actually even done my spinach yet. I really need to get around to it because spinach is one thing that does like to be sort of put in colder weather. So that's another thing that I must get round to soon and start it off soon, because otherwise we're going to get too near the summer season and that harvest won't last long. I'm sure you will find that it goes crazy as soon as we get a bit of heat. Ross is saying, can I say I really enjoy your live stream on the weekend? Part of me wonders what 18-year-old me would say to myself as it's a Saturday night and I'm at home talking about chickens and gardening. Yeah, hello, me too. You know, when I was 18, I was down in London, student, drinking, going clubbing every weekend. I was never a massive clubber though. I could never do, you know, some of my friends would do Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. I think I probably in my entire life only managed to go clubbing 2 nights, consecutive nights, only a few times because it's enough to kill me. But yes, I prefer this. Nice brew, nice chat with you lovely lot. Chickens, gardening, work, plastic. Much prefer this than being out all night. Alana says, we've been told we need permission to put a shed in the garden. That is ridiculous. Yeah, renting sucks. That's ridiculous because it's not a permanent structure. Technically, if you're renting, you could take it down and take it with you. That's so annoying, Alana. I'm sorry you're going through all of this because you're just trying to get on with your life and do good. And all these, you know, housing association and stuff is making life difficult for you. Who's Your Deb is here. Hello, welcome to our chat. And she says, received some potted blue iris for Valentine's Day. Lovely. Really, really nice. Bloom's now gone, leaves shooting up. Have no idea where to go with them next. I'm near Chicago, at least a month before safe from frost. Yeah, so I would just keep them in a frost-free place. Don't cut those leaves off because those leaves are going to suck down the energy into the bulbs and the tubers for next year. But yes, that's a lovely gift. And that's the nice thing I like with flowers. Obviously we all give flowers from time to time, but I like giving plants as well because then they can go on and be used in the future. And then you have that continuation. So you'll now always think of that Valentine's Day when you've got these beautiful irises. So that's one thing I really love about plants. They can become so sentimental and they can have such memories attached to them, which is really nice. Ross is saying the Thames is a mile away, so when can I come and fish it and camp in your garden? Well, when I go for a run, there are always fishermen down there. What they catch, I don't know. And would I eat it? I'm not sure because I've seen the state of that water. But yeah, it's less than a mile away because I worked out, because I recently did my official poultry registration with DEFRA and AFA, and we had to say whether there is water, a main watercourse, I think within 500 metres in fact, and for me, yes there is, because it's literally just there. And so people are fishing all the time down there. And I'm guessing we're near enough to the estuary, the mouth of the river as well, for it to be semi-saltwater here, because it is tidal when you get out to this bit. So yeah, come down and fish. Be good fun. Ross says, so what other hobbies do you and Sard have? You spelt it perfectly correctly. Hobbies? Do we have time for hobbies? I'm really lucky in that I've kind of made hobbies into my way of life, and now with the job as well. Again, so my hobbies was gardening, and I built my self-employed life around gardening, and now I'm kind of winding that down, and I'm moving more into the homesteading, the animal side, and now I've been lucky enough to find a job where again it's my hobby. So actually spending 8-9 hours outside when it's 2 degrees, but I'm with sheep and cows and things, I come home and I'm like, I don't feel I've done any work today at all. I've just had fun. Even mucking out the pigs. I'm not a massive pig man. I'm a bit wary of pigs, but I'm getting used to them. And so even mucking out pigs, and pig poo to me is probably the worst poo you can get. But I'm even getting used to that, and that is not even a foul thing either. So I'm really lucky. Sard loves his falconry, so Sard is now working, volunteering at the falconry place there as well. So he's definitely got this hobby in falconry. He obviously has this love for taxidermy as well. So we had a bit of a saga last week with a dead deer that one of his work colleagues picked up to feed to their pair of vultures, but they didn't know how this little muntjac had died, so they decided they didn't want to feed it to them in case it had been poisoned. Sard, of course, then jumped on the back of it, saying, I need it, I want it for taxidermy purposes. So we ended up having to drive to Chelmsford to buy a second-hand chest freezer so that when he brought this deer home, we could stick the deer in it. Problem is, he brought the deer home and the deer didn't blimmin' fit, did it? So the deer had to sit on the dining room table for a couple of days, thawing, because it had died and been frozen on its back with its legs sticking out that way and that way. So the worst position ever. So we had to thaw it so we could then bend its legs back. And then it was a bit gruesome when he moved it to put it into the freezer, and it left a kind of trail of ooze behind. But I'm hoping that he's going to, at the moment, he hasn't got any free time at all because he's now doing all the falconry. But in the future, I'm hoping that he will actually learn and build up his taxidermy skills, and he can actually use that. Other than that, we tend to watch a lot of. We like movies. We like sci-fi, fantasy, superhero kind of movies. So we watch quite a few of that. We like Netflix series. We watch RuPaul's Drag Race. So yeah, downtime is kind of chilling with movies and dramas. But we're quite busy people, and we're both lucky in that we kind of love what we do. Brian is back on the question of the manure, so he's saying 6 months minimum for chicken manure. Yeah, totally. If you spread it out, if you compost it in a high heat in your compost, it will break down faster than if you just left it. And as I said, you could also put a thin sprinkling across the beds, especially with the colder weather, and let the frost get into it, break down some of the nutrients into the soil. But it's very strong stuff. Oh look, I've just scrolled down and I've seen that last week's troll is back. Well done, Liz. Thank you for sorting that out for me. Escape the Matrix says, I'm hoping I don't have to snap the goat's wee off in this cold snow. Snap the goat's wee off in this cold snow. I'm hoping that I don't have to snap my own wee off in this cold snap, especially because I've been trying to use it to put the foxes off. And Susie says, what can you put in with the chicken poo if you can't use kitchen scraps? So we can use kitchen scraps in the compost bin. If you use kitchen scraps in your compost bin, you just can't let your chickens get into the compost bin. But then I don't particularly want the chickens rooting around in their own muck anyway. So putting the chicken muck and the kitchen scraps into the compost bin together is not a problem at all. Add some high carbon things, sawdust, cardboard, that sort of thing. Add some grass clippings, and you can really get a nice heat going on. London Worms and Garden says, bought a heated mat, first time for using one. I haven't used one at all, actually. It's bought on the tomatoes, but the peppers are refusing to budge. I made the classic mistake of 14 tomato plants coming up, and I have nowhere to put them. And I know how that is. I've got all these little pepper plants that are coming up, and again, they aren't doing much, but when they do go, I'm not going to have enough space for everything. Fringe Joyler says, do you ever field your chickens or quail live mealworms? The quail don't seem to be very interested. If I'm in the garden and I find a load of woodlice, I do throw those in, and they love a good woodlice, does a quail. The chickens, again, I do have a little live colony of mealworms, and I have tried them, and they like those. Obviously, we can't feed dried mealworms to chickens. It's not allowed over here in the UK, but I think we can feed them live mealworms, especially if you bought a tub and then you've kind of bred them on yourselves. So yeah, I do feed them now and then, but generally they just get their bog standard layers pellets and their fermented barley, and they're very, very happy with that. And then obviously I rip off odd leaves of kale and beets and stuff to give to them straight direct from the veggie garden too. Brian says he hates spinach, but just found out my daughter likes it. So it seems I'll be growing some this year. I love it. I really love it. And I used to hate kale, but now I love kale as well. It's really, really good. And I will just pick some leaves, wilt them in the frying pan, pour in some scrambled eggs, and have like a kale eggy omelette mix for breakfast. And it's so nice. Sandra's saying, lightweight, Jeff. I was a nurse. We partied 4 nights a week. I'm a total lightweight. I used to be able to hold my drink as well, and I can't anymore at all. Sword says, what is the message, the real message that people there need to know? There are many, Sword. I think the main thing is, kind of the whole mantra of my channel is work with what you've got. So it's good to have a dream and it's good to aim towards self-sufficiency or whatever, but really look at what you've got, look at the space you have, and work within your means and do your little bit for the planet. That's kind of my mantra of the channel. Yeah, just try and do your little bit and make use of what you have available at that time. Oh, thanks, Liz. Liz is saying, don't forget to give a thumbs up for the live chat, and I've got 16 of them, so thank you, everybody. Ross says, Sard sounds like a legend. Keep carrying on with the taxidermy. It's the sort of crazy thing I do. Legend and weird. But I think that's the good thing to be these days, isn't it? You don't want to be dull and bland and boring. He certainly lives an interesting life. Susie is saying, again, with the card, so this is back with the putting cardboard in the compost. Be careful with cardboard, as much of it is sprayed with a plastic coating. Yeah, exactly. A lot of the cardboard boxes you buy with products have that shiny sheen on them. Again, that's plastic. So it's really difficult. Everything has got blimmin' plastic on. Ross says, my grandparents got me a taxidermy bay ostrich from South Africa. My fiance hated it, so I put it on eBay, got 90 quid. Told my granddad it cost £5 from the side of the road. And Ross is drinking wine, so he apologises for his typos. My typos are terrible, and I often haven't had any wine. Alana says she's got 50 plus chilies. 50? 50 plus chilies, peppers, aubergines potted up already with 20 plus tomatoes and peppers that need pulled out the propagator. Where on earth are you going to put them all, Alana? Silver7 says, I've heard on other videos that chickens eat slugs, and we do have a lot of slugs. I can't get mine to eat slugs. They will eat snails because I think they like cracking the shells. But if I throw slugs in there, they don't want them. They don't want them at all. They just let them all slime away, which is a bit unfortunate because I'd love them to eat them. And Susie St. James is suggesting I add a bit of onion to my kale eggy dish. That's a good idea, actually. I really should, just to bump it up a little bit. And Alana says, who'd want to be normal? Poofed. Oh, what's going on there? Oh, I managed to turn the camera around there by accident, so you got a nice look at a white sheet. I didn't know you could do that. Oh, that's exciting. Next time we do a live chat, maybe in the summer when it's sunnier, I can switch it and we can go out into the garden or something. And Alana's had a few ciders this evening, hence the chattiness. Well, that's all good. Escaping the Matrix, I had a couple of gins with cream soda. Now I feel boring. I'm just having the tea and you lot are all having a good old drink. Food Forest Permaculture is here. Hello, welcome to our chat tonight. White sheet peekaboo. I know. Do you know why I'm using a white sheet? Because apparently if you put a white sheet over a light source, so I have a lamp right in front of me, if you put a white sheet, it diffuses the light to give you less of a harsh kind of light on your face. I don't know whether it works, but so there is this kind of white sheet here. I think it works. Maybe, I don't know. My head looks pretty shiny, so maybe it doesn't. Of course, I'm happy to greet you, Food Forest Permaculture. It's good to see you here. It's good to see you here on this nice Sunday. See, now you can tell I've been talking for almost an hour and a half because I'm starting to blur. Susan St. James says, don't feel bad. I'm drinking orange pico tea with sugar. Oh, that sounds nice. That does sound nice. And Little Beans says, that is so clever, friend. Yes, it works. I picked it up. Where did I pick it up from? I picked it up from another YouTuber actually, because he made a little photography box to take pictures of plants in, and he cut out the box, and I can't remember his YouTube channel, otherwise I tell you, but he had a little box and he cut out 2 side bits to put the lamps through, and then he used white linen on either side to help diffuse the light, so he got this perfect photography box, and it does work very, very well actually. Ross says, white sheet. No, that's very true. It is exactly what us product photographers do in a studio. Are you a product photographer? That's very cool and interesting. It's good to know these things, you know, in case we need help now and then. And it is very nearly Sunday, Sandra. We have 36 minutes to go, and then it is Sunday, so I'll let myself off. And Liz is saying, so she's already said hello today in another live chat or 2 to Food Forest Permaculture. Right, well, I have been whittling on for almost an hour and a half now, so has anybody got any questions? If not, we may wind this down just so I can get a little bit of sleep. I know that Food Forest Permaculture, you've only just arrived, but we are almost an hour and a half in, so I tend to wind things down at that stage, just so I can go to bed, because it's 11:30 here. And Food Forest Permaculture says, I'm coming to your channel soon on family night, Liz Zorab. Good. So yes, are there any questions? If not, I will sort of say good night to you. I'm just going to read Ross's message that he's told me not to read out. Why not? I'm going to read it out. So Ross was, for many, many years, a product photographer, degree in graphics, masters in advertising, and self-taught in photography. Very cool. It's very nice to see all these ranges of, you know, of expertise and skills. Makes us all interesting. Thank you very much, Food Forest, for that. That's really good. I'm glad you've managed to check in with us too, Brian. It's always nice to catch up, because I feel that throughout the week we all see each other's videos and we see what each other's up to, and we pop in and maybe we leave comments here and there, but it's always nice, I find, to catch up with everybody live on a Saturday and just see what everybody's up to. And of course we do have the Facebook group, Brimwood Farm's community group, but obviously not everybody is on Facebook, and again there's so much going on there sometimes that I don't get a chance to check in, so it's nice to see everybody tonight. So thank you all very much for stopping in. I hope you had a really, really good evening. Carry on drinking if you are, or head to bed if that's what you are so inclined to do. And I will see you, I'll see you next Saturday. What are we doing next Saturday? I may see you next Saturday. I think I probably will. Stay warm for this coming week. And thank you very much, Liz, for being our mod. And I will see you again soon. Bye.